Hello all, I am the Holland Phantom, and for today's video we're going to be having a live battle from the 2018 format. On one side, we've got the Zoroark GX deck, as used by Schulz, the Masters Division World Champion of that year, going up against the Yveltal Break deck, as used by Clifton a top 32 World competitor, so we'll see which of these two decks can take the victory today. But before we begin, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and to my Twitter account, at Holland_Phantom, so you don't miss out on any new Pokemon TCG content. And now with that out of the way, let's get into the battle! And here we go, the battle has started, with both players flipping over their starting Pokemon. On the Zoroark side, we've got Trubbish as the active Pokemon, and on the Yveltal side, we've got Yveltal as the active Pokemon. The Yveltal side is going first, benching an Oranguru and another Yveltal, and then activating an item card Max Elixir. The player can now look at the top 6 cards of their deck, and attach a basic energy card that they find there to one of their benched Pokemon. There we see a Darkness Energy coming down to the benched Yveltal, and the other cards get shuffled back into the deck now. Let's see what else the player can do for their first turn. There we see a supporter card, Professor Sycamore, discarding the entire hand to draw 7 brand new cards. Do they have any more Pokemon or energy cards to play for the turn? Let's take a look. Actually, that's going to be it. Turn passes over to the Zoroark side's first turn now. The player activates Town Map as the first card. Now they can flip over their prize cards for the remainder of the game. Okay, there we see a Rescue Stretcher, a Floatstone, and I think it was the Professor Sycamore in the prizes. So now they know what to take once they take any KOs. And now the player activates Mysterious Treasure, discarding a Choice Band from the hand for any Psychic-type or Dragon-type Pokemon from their deck. The chosen card is going to be a Tapu Lele, activating Wonder Tag to search the deck for any supporter card. And it's going to be Bridget. Bridget gets to search the deck for 3 basic Pokemon to put onto the bench, and then we see a Zorua, a second Zorua, and a third Zorua. Okay, so 3 Zorua coming down to the bench. They're going to be the main attackers and Draw Engine once they evolve into Zoroark. There we see a double colorless energy coming down to one of them, and that's going to be it. Turn passes back over to the Yveltal side. A Tapu Koko comes down to the bench now. And the benched Yveltal evolves into Yveltal Break, the main attacker of this deck. There we see a Darkness Energy coming down to the active Pokemon. Followed by another Max Elixir. Once again, looking at the top 6 cards of the deck. Let's see if they get any more energy cards. Oh, they didn't! That was a fail that time. All 6 cards get shuffled back into the deck now. And there's the supporter for the turn, N. Both players shuffle away their hands and draw 6 cards apiece. 1 for each of the remaining prize cards. There's the cards being drawn. Do they have any more Pokemon or item cards to play for the turn? There we see a second Tapu Koko coming down. And there's the first attack of the game, Oblivion Wing, hitting Trubbish for 30 damage. And also getting back a discarded Darkness-type energy to attach to the Yveltal Break on the bench. Just needs 1 more energy to be fully powered up. And now on the other side, there we see the first Zoroark GX coming down. And the player activates 2 Evo Soda to search the deck for 2 evolutions. There we see a second Zoroark and a third Zoroark. 3 Zoroark in 1 turn, alright. And now the player has access to 3 trade abilities to draw up to 6 cards per turn. There's the first one, discarding a Mysterious Treasure, drawing 2 cards out of the deck. There's the second one, discarding Bridget that time, drawing another 2 cards. And there's the third, discarding another Bridget to draw another 2 cards out of the deck. A lot of draw power coming through from this side. There we see a Floatstone coming down to the bench, to the active Trubbish, which then moves down to the bench, promoting one of the Zoroark. It is fully powered up to use its right as beating attack, and now the Trubbish evolves into Garbodor. It's going to be the secondary attacker. A double colorless energy comes down to a second Zoroark now. There's the attack. Right as beating, hitting for 100 damage. 20 damage for each Pokemon on the Zoroark side. Back over to the other side now. The player activates his supporter card, Guzma, bringing up the Zoroark without the energy into the active spot, and they're switching out their 2 Yveltal. And now Yveltal Break comes into the active spot. Does the player have the final energy card to fully power it up? And yes, they do. There it is. We're going to be seeing a pretty powerful attack coming through this side. There it is. It's going to be Baleful Night, hitting for 120 damage. And also hitting every Pokemon on the bench that already has damage counters on it for 30 additional damage. So for right now, it's just going to be the Garbodor. Again, Zoroark side, there we see the first trade-in ability. Discarding a Choice Band, drawing 2 cards. There's the second one. Discarding Enhanced Hammer this time. And what's going to be the third discard? It's going to be another Mysterious Treasure. Okay. That's all 6 cards drawn. And then we see another Mysterious Treasure being activated, discarding Kartana from the hand. Once again for another Psychic Pokemon from the deck. And it's going to be another Tapu Lele this time. Tapu Lele activates Wonder Tag, searching the deck for Guzma. The player's going to be getting this Zoroark out of the active spot. And targeting down the damaged Yveltal on the bench on their opponent's side. Okay, so they're going to be taking the first KO of the game. There we go. One of the powered-up Zoroark comes into the active spot now to take the KO. And there's the attack. Riotous Beating, taking the first KO of the game and the first prize, and the player's going to be taking a Float Stone from their prize cards. On the Yveltal side, one of the Tapu Koko comes into the active spot. It does have the Free Retreat to act as a pivot between turns. And there's another N. Once again, both players going to be shuffling away their hands. The Zoroark side only gets to draw 5 now. And the Yveltal side still gets to draw all 6. It's going to be pretty huge disruption going up against the Zoroark, as they did have a lot of cards in hand from all that draw power. A double colorless energy comes into the active Tapu Koko, followed by a third Yveltal coming down to the bench. There's the attack, Flying Flip, hitting everything on the Zoroark side for 20 damage apiece. So with the full bench, Flying Flip is hitting for a maximum of 120 damage for just 2 energy. Pretty strong attack. Now over to the other side. There's the first trade-in ability, discarding a Field Blower. The player's just going to be drawing some more cards out of the deck to build up their hand once again. Discarding a Unit Energy this time with their second ability. And there's the third one, discarding Tapu Lele. That's 6 cards drawn. No more cards are played. There's the attack, Riotous Beating, to take the KO against Tapu Koko. And now they get Rescue Stretcher out of the prize cards. That is 2 prizes taken by the Zoroark side. The second Tapu Koko comes into the active spot now. And then it also gets a double colorless energy. The second Yveltal evolves into another Yveltal break on the bench now. And now Tapu Koko is going to be retreating to promote the first Yveltal break. Which then gets a Choice Band, increasing its attack power by 30 points if it hits against an opposing GX Pokemon. There's the attack, Baleful Knight, hitting for 150 damage. And now everything on the bench is going to be getting hit for 30 damage apiece. That is huge damage coming through. Okay, there's all the damage counters being spread. I think that was a total of 300 damage. Let's see. 150 into the active one, 30 into each of the benched ones. Yeah, that's 300 damage off that one attack. That's pretty good. Okay, on the Zoroark side, there we see the first trade-in, discarding N, drawing 2 cards. They're not going to be needing that N anytime soon. That would actually hurt them more than anything. There's the second one, discarding Garbodor. There's the third one, discarding another N. Definitely don't need those right now. Let's see what they can do for this turn. And it looks like Zoroark is going to be retreating to promote the next Zoroark. It's going to be the least damaged one so far. Oh, now the player activates Parallel City. Parallel City has 2 effects depending on which way it's pointing. So with the blue side pointing toward the Zoroark side, means that they can only have 3 benched Pokemon. So they discarded 2 of their heavily damaged Zoroark, and now they get rid of their own stadium by using Field Blower. And now they have access to their full bench once again. A Trubbish comes down, gets a Unit Energy, and there's the attack. Riotous Beating, hitting for 100 damage. And they just took a bunch of damage off their side of the field thanks to that Parallel City play. On the Yveltal side, the benched Yveltal break gets a Darkness Energy, and no more cards are played. There's the attack. Baleful Knight, hitting for 120 damage. The Garbodor and the Tapu Lele are going to be taking damage. Oh, but the Garbodor is going to be getting KO'd. That's going to be the first prize taken by Yveltal now. Back over to the other side. The benched Trubbish evolves into another Garbodor. And there's the item card, Rescue Stretcher. Searching the discard pile for Garbodor, Trubbish, and Kartana. 3 Pokemon chosen. They're going to be getting shuffled back into the deck now. And we should be seeing the KO against the Yveltal right now. It only has 50 HP remaining. There's a trade-in ability, discarding an Evo Soda, drawing 2 cards out of the deck. Zoroark now gets a Floatstone, and then uses it to retreat into Garbodor. There's the attack, Trash Avalanche, hitting for 20 damage times the number of item cards in their opponent's discard pile. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a total of 100 damage for 1 energy. Pretty good attack. And there's another KO that is 3 prizes taken by the Zoroark side. This time the player takes Guzma out of their prize cards, and now Tapu Koko comes back into the active spot. Okay, the Yveltal player is down by 2 prizes. Oh, but they have another N. Once again, heavily disrupting the Zoroark player. Zoroark only draws 3, and Yveltal draws 5. And now the Zoroark player only has access to 1 trade-in ability. A second Darkness Energy comes into the Yveltal break, and there's the attack. Another Flying Flip, hitting everything for 20 damage apiece. So both Tapu Lele have now taken 100 damage. And Zoroark is down to just 20 HP remaining. One more Flying Flip will knock it out. Okay, there's trade-in. Discarding another Zoroark GX from the deck to draw 2 cards. Sorry, not from the deck, from the hand. And there's Kartana coming down, activating its ability to discard the double colorless energy from Tapu Koko. Kartana then gets a unit energy to power up its GX attack. Oh, and there's End this time coming from the Zoroark side. They must be digging for another parallel city to get this Zoroark GX off the field before he gets KO'd. Oh, but looks like they did not get it. There's the attack, Trash Avalanche, hitting for 100 damage, 10 damage short of taking the KO. Does the player have a double colorless energy to power up this Tapu Koko? Actually, it looks like they don't. Tapu Koko retreats to promote Yveltal. Oh, but does the player have a Darkness Energy to use Baleful Night? Oh, it looks like they don't. They can only attack with Oblivion Wing, hitting for 30 damage, and getting a discarded Darkness Energy onto the bench Tapu Koko. Okay, so on the Zoroark side, they did get a free turn off that. No Pokemon are KO'd. There's trade. Drawing 2 cards out of the deck. And there's a puzzle at a time. Actually, 2 puzzles at a time. Getting back a Guzma and Tapu Lele out of the discard pile back into the player's hand. Also, is Zoroark's ability called Trade or Trade-In? I think I've been calling it Trade-In. It's Trade, right? Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there. Okay, there's Tapu Lele coming back down, searching the deck for Cynthia to add to the player's hand. So now we know they have access to 2 supporters, the Cynthia and the Guzma. The player's going to be using Guzma this turn to take the KO against the Tapu Koko. And now Zoroark jumps into the active spot. Oh, but it's going to be using the Floatstone to retreat, so Garbodor is going to be the one to take the KO. There's the attack, Trash Avalanche, taking the KO against Tapu Koko, taking the 4th prize. It's going to be another puzzle of time taking off the prize cards. And the Yveltal player is down by 3 prizes. They need 1 Darkness Energy to fully power it up. Okay, there we see a Choice Band. And Professor Sycamore discarding their entire hand to draw 7 brand new cards. They're going to be digging through their deck as much as they can to get that final Darkness Energy. Did they get it? And yes, they did, finally! Yveltal Break is now fully powered up. There's the attack, Baleful Night, taking the KO against Garbodor and Zoroark GX. So it's going to be a total of 3 prize cards taken off this 1 attack. And then the 2 damaged Tapu Lele also take 30 damage apiece. They're down to 40 HP remaining each. So as long as one of these can be KO'd, the Yveltal player can win the game. Okay, Kartana GX comes into the active spot now. And now the player's going to be activating both of their Puzzles of Time, getting back a unit energy and a rescue stretcher. There's a rescue stretcher now, searching the discard pile for Trubbish, Garbodor, and Zorua. All three Pokemon are going to be getting shuffled into the deck now. And there's Cynthia. The player's going to be shuffling away their hand to draw 6 brand new cards. There's the cards being drawn. It looks like the player's going to be trying to build up another Garbodor as quickly as they can, as that Trash Avalanche attack is pretty powerful. Okay, there's a Zorua and a Trubbish coming down. Okay, they have a full bench once again. Oh, and then we see another Parallel City. Once again, discarding 2 of their bench Pokemon, so both of the heavily damaged Tapu Lele go to the discard pile. There's the attack. It's going to be the GX attack, Blade GX, to automatically take a prize card. It's going to be the Professor Sycamore this time. No cards are played on the Yveltal side. The player attacks with Baleful Knight, hitting for 150 damage. They just gotta hit this Kartana one more time to win the game. Oh, but the Trubbish evolves into Garbodor, and now Kartana's gonna be retreating. Oh, Garbodor jumps into the active spot. Can they take the KO? They need to... Okay, there's a Field Blower discarding the Choice Band and the Parallel City. If the Yveltal player has 8 items in their discard pile, they will lose the game. There's the Trash Avalanche. How many items do they have? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, is that it? Oh, just 7! Which means Trash Avalanche only hits for 140 damage. Just 10 damage short of the KO. Which means that Yveltal will be taking the KO with its final attack. Yeah, there's the attack. Baleful Knight to take the KO against Garbodor and Kartana to take the final 2 prizes. And there's the handshake. Yveltal Break is your winner. So what did you guys think of that battle? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow and reach new viewers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, this is the Holland Phantom logging out.